Good morning, everyone. Today, we are going to do the poem Earthen Pots by O.N.V. Kurup. O.N.V. Kurup, born in 1931, is a prominent Malayalam poet, prose writer, and lyricist. His works speak on behalf of those in darkness and attempt to bring the chains of tyranny and oppression, break the chains of tyranny and oppression. From 1946, when his first poem, Munnota, was published, he has published prolifically, including works such as Ujjaini and even a collection of poems for children. Kurup in this poem employs the symbol of earthen pots. Earthen pots means mitti ke ghade, earthen mitti, pots ghade, to talk about individuals who are seen as merely a mass and lacking any significant value in themselves. The poet speaks about the ties that bind these pots together, their attachment to each other, and their sense of loss when from their midst is taken away. He also examines the notion of their worthlessness and speculates on the possibility of unknown destinies which might just possibly include something momentous. Though the metaphor he uses is systematically and consistently that of the mud pots, he imparts greater significance to this slight topic by equating the mud pots to human lives and thus enlarging and broadening its scope. Though never stated outright, underlying the entire poem is the concept of man, essentially a thing of earth. As in Hindu mythology and concept, we believe that human body is made of panchatattva, one of them being mud. Let me read the poem before we go on to explain it. How long have we remained here thus, two empty earthen pots, gazing at each other, close by in the potter's yard? So close that softly brushing against each other and not quite sure whether touching or not, gazing at each other in inexhaustible zest, we two earthen pots. How long we have remained here thus, two empty earthen pots, gazing. Gazing means looking. Potter's yard. Potter means kumhar. Yard means angan. So close that softly brushing against each other. They are so closely lying, but still the thin crevice allows the air to pass in, and that is why the poet says brushing against each other and not quite sure whether touching or not, because they are close but still not exactly touching each other. Gazing at each other, looking at each other in inexhaustible zest, enthusiasm, inexhaustible, unending. We two earthen pots talking to each other, personified. The pots are personified. They're talking to each other. And I told you it is an underlying metaphor equating the pots to the human beings. Those who from golden goblets drink red wine may dismiss us in contempt and extreme scorn, for we are made of the poor simple folk. We are cheap and may easily break time, yet we are good enough to store the blessed gift of earth, water clear and pure, within our hold, unpolluted, though we are mere earthen pots. Even our makers do not know where tomorrow we shall. Hundreds like us who are crowded here are waiting for some unknown buyer to lift us up one by one and hold us to the ear and with a finger stroke quality test us by the sound. If satisfied, he buys one and walks away, followed by our sighs that bind us in one thought of woe, an intense sense of loss of one who was among us, and one of us takes hold of us. Ah, when does our turn come to depart? And when it comes, who would be the first to leave? Those who from golden goblets, pots made of gold, goblets in the round shape, drink wine with the rich people might dismiss us in contempt, he says, because they might scorn us because we are made of simple mud. We are cheap and may easily break. We are breakable. True, yet we are good enough to store. But as we all know, the water in mud pots taste very good, and the water is clear and purified by the mud. Within our hold, unpolluted because it is naturally filtered, though we are not mere earthen pots. Though we are mud pots, even our makers do not know where tomorrow we shall be. Hundreds like us who are crowded here, the hundreds of pots which are kept in the potter's yard, are waiting for some unknown buyer to lift us up one by one and hold us to the ear, and they would test the quality of the pot by tapping the finger on it. If satisfied, one is bought and the buyer walks away with it, followed by our sighs, the remaining pots. Sigh means ah bharna, okay, sadness, due to sadness that bind us in one thought of woe, because these pots who are personified, they have a bonding with each other, and they feel an intense sense of loss when one amongst them is bought by someone and it goes away. And when does our turn come to depart? And when the turn comes, who would be the first one to leave? This is what they think. The poet begins the poem with two empty earthen pots which are lying very close to each other. Let me paraphrase the poem for you. They are looking steadily for a long time at each other with uh, tireless gusto, zest, enthusiasm. These are stored in the potter's courtyard. Then the poet tells us not only about the two earthen pots, but tells us about hundreds like them, which are compared to the masses, ordinary human beings, which are waiting to be sold to some unknown buyer, to some prospective customer. Here, the earthen pots have been personified. There are many people who drink wine from costly golden goblets. These people may scorn the earthen pots because the earthen pots are made of mud for the poor and simple people. These earthen pots are cheap and breakable. These earthen pots store clear, pure, and unpolluted water, which is the greatest gift of Mother Earth. Even the potter, the maker of these earthen pots, does not know about their destiny or ultimate fate. Hundreds of these pots are waiting to be tested quality wise and then to be taken by some unknown buyer. Only when one earthen pot is picked up at one time and the remaining ones feel very much sorrow on account of its separation. The rest do not know when their turn would come to be picked up and when they would depart from these, and who would be the first of all to leave. Really, the poet has equated the earthen pots to human beings. The simile holds good because the earthen pots and the human beings are made of earth. Like the earthen pots, the human beings are also cheap and breakable, vulnerable. The poet has emphasized the concept that man essentially is a thing of earth. Human beings, like earthen pots, do not know when they shall be chosen and who shall be the first to leave. The earthen pots lament, cry when one of them leaves them. Similarly, when a man dies, the survivors lament for him. Thus, the poem has a deeper meaning than the surface meaning. The comparison between the earthen pots and the human beings is most appropriate. I hope the poem has been clear to you. Thank you.